Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Naresh Mago and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserts global challenge of COVID-19 gives a scope to innovate and incubate new technology. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to take place tomorrow. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan reviews preparedness in Delhi. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 96.08%. GST revenue collection for December 2020 records all-time high. And India begins its 2-year tenure as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today promised housing for all and said it is time to put an end to the miseries of the poor while laying the foundation stone of Lighthouse Projects LHPs under Global Housing Technology Challenge GHTC India across 6 states in the country today through video conferencing. Mr. Modi said the Lighthouse projects will showcase the best forms of technology used for public welfare and Lighthouse projects will help support urban housing needs.
आज गरीबों के लिए, मध्यम वर्ग के लिए, घर बनाने के लिए नई टेक्नोलॉजी देश को मिल रही है। तकनीकी भाषा में आप इसे लाइट हाउस प्रोजेक्ट कहते हैं। मैं मानता हूं ये 6 प्रोजेक्ट वाकई लाइट हाउस प्रकाश स्तंभ की तरह है। ये 6 लाइट हाउस प्रोजेक्ट देश में हाउसिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन को नई दिशा दिखाएंगे। हर क्षेत्र से राज्यों का इस अभियान में जुटना कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म की हमारी भावना को और मजबूत कर रहा है।
The Prime Minister said the projects will make every citizen proud that the nation is leveraging high-end technology to give an impetus to our development trajectory. Greeting everyone on the occasion of the new year, the Prime Minister said that we enter 2021 with new vigor and opportunities.
सभी देशवासियों को 2021 की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, अनेक अनेक मंगल कामनाएं। आज नई ऊर्जा के साथ, नए संकल्पों के साथ और नए संकल्पों को सिद्ध करने के लिए तेज गति से आगे बढ़ने का आज शुभारंभ है।
The Prime Minister said housing schemes are not on the priority list of the earlier central governments. Mr. Modi added that the current government realizes that transformation is impossible without all-round development. He said the country has adopted a new approach and a different road ahead. Mr. Modi asserted that the global challenge of COVID-19 gave the nation a scope to innovate and incubate new technology. The Prime Minister informed that in Ranchi, the 3D construction system from Germany is being used, whereas the steel frame technology from New Zealand is being used in Agartala.
इंदौर में जो घर बन रहे हैं, उनमें ईंट और गारे की दीवारें नहीं होगी, बल्कि प्री फैब्रिकेटेड सैंडविच पैनल सिस्टम इसमें इस्तेमाल होगा। राजकोट में टनल के जरिए मोनोलिथिक कंक्रीट कंस्ट्रक्शन इस टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करेंगे। फ्रांस की इस टेक्नोलॉजी से हमें गति भी मिलेगी और घर आपदाओं को झेलने में ज्यादा सक्षम भी बनेगा। चेन्नई में अमेरिका और फिनलैंड की प्री कास्ट कंक्रीट सिस्टम का उपयोग करेंगे, जिससे घर तेजी से भी बनेगा और सस्ता भी होगा। रांची में जर्मनी के 3D कंस्ट्रक्शन सिस्टम से घर बनाएंगे। इसमें हर कमरा अलग से बनेगा और फिर पूरे स्ट्रक्चर को वैसे ही जोड़ा जाएगा जैसे लेगो ब्लॉक्स के खिलौनों को जोड़ते हैं। अगरतला में न्यूजीलैंड की स्टील फ्रेम से जुड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी से घर बनाए जा रहे हैं। जहां भूकंप का खतरा ज्यादा होता है, वहां ऐसे घर बेहतर होते हैं।
Mr. Modi said that these projects will prove to be like incubation centers for our planners, engineers, architects and students where they will be able to experiment with the new technology. He added that the government has introduced the Asha India project to promote research and innovation in the construction sector. He said this will pave the way to develop new and inexpensive technology to build houses in the 21st century. The Prime Minister said, under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, lakhs of houses have been built in a very short span of time and construction of many more is still going on.
मुझे संतोष है कि बीते 6 वर्षों में देश में जो कदम उठाए गए हैं उसने एक सामान्य मानवी का, खास करके मेहनतकश मध्यम वर्गीय परिवार का ये भरोसा लौटाया है कि उसका भी अपना घर हो सकता है, अपना मालिकी का घर हो सकता है। अब देश का फोकस है गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग की जरूरतों पर। अब देश ने प्राथमिकता दी है शहर में रहने वाले लोगों की संवेदनाओं को, उनकी भावनाओं को। प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना के तहत शहरों में बहुत ही कम समय में लाखों घर बनाकर दिए जा चुके हैं। लाखों घरों के निर्माण का काम जारी भी है।
Mr. Modi said the government has brought back people's faith in realty projects by bringing in the RERA regulations. Mr. Modi also announced the winners under Affordable Sustainable Housing Accelerators Asha India and gave out annual awards for excellence in implementation of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Mission. The Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs, Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri, along with Chief Ministers of Tripura, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh were also present on the occasion. Speaking on the occasion, the Housing and Urban Affairs Minister said Limehouse projects will be constructed in Indore, Rajkot, Chennai, Ranchi, Agartala and Lucknow. These will serve as live laboratories for facilitating transfer of technology to field and replicate nearly 1,000 houses at each location in a cost-effective, eco-friendly way and with a much faster speed.
आज की तारीख में जो राज्यों से डिमांड आई थी 1 करोड़ 12 लाख घरों की, उनमें से हमने 1 करोड़ 9 लाख सैंक्शन कर दिए हैं। 70 लाख घरों पर निर्माण किया जा रहा है और 40 लाख घरों का निर्माण पूरा हो गया है और लाभार्थियों को मिल चुके हैं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि टारगेट डेट 2022 के पहले ही हम ये सारा कार्य पूरा कर देंगे और सभी लाभार्थियों को ये आवास मिल जाएंगे।
Participating in the event, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that under the direction of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his government is providing houses to all those who are homeless. He said that state will provide more than 17,58,000 houses to the urban poor families. Around 6,15,000 houses had already been provided to urban poor families in the state.
इस परियोजना का जो मुख्य उद्देश्य है कि हम कैसे टिकाऊ, पर्यावरण अनुकूल और आपदारोधी तकनीक पर आधारित आवासीय सुविधा के निर्माण की कार्रवाई को आगे बढ़ा सकें और विश्वास के साथ कहा जा सकता है कि लाइट हाउस प्रोजेक्ट इस दिशा में मील के पत्थर साबित होंगे।
Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan also spoke at the event.
आज नववर्ष के पहले दिन ही एक नया प्रोजेक्ट लेके गरीबों को उपहार दिया है। प्रधानमंत्री जी का संकल्प है आजादी के 75वें वर्ष में 2022 तक हर गरीब के पास अपना पक्का मकान होगा और ये कहते हुए प्रसन्नता है कि शहरी क्षेत्र में 1 करोड़ और ग्रामीण क्षेत्र में लगभग 3 करोड़ घरों के निर्माण का काम आपके असंभव से दिखने वाले मिशन को संभव कर रहा है।
Taking part in the event, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy said the state has taken lead in the country in implementation of PMYA Urban.
Honorable Prime Minister has envisioned housing for all by 2022, by which year the nation would complete 75 years of its independence. The program is of particular relevance to the state of Andhra Pradesh, which is vulnerable to natural disasters like cyclones, heavy rains, floods, due to its long coastline of 974 kilometers. Due to the vagaries of nature, it is the poor who suffer the most in the absence of a permanent house. In line with the Honorable Prime Minister's vision, Andhra Pradesh has taken the lead in the country in implementation of PMAY Urban.
Indore is among 6 sites where Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of the ambitious Lighthouse project through virtual medium today. As many as 1,024 residential units are to be constructed through prefabricated sandwich panel system under this ambitious project of Indore. Madhya Pradesh was also awarded in different categories for excellent implementation of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban through virtual medium in the program. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
The award for second best performing state was given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan through virtual medium. Madhya Pradesh also received a special award for best affordable housing in partnership on public lands. Chhindwara and Khurai urban bodies of a state received award for best housing construction, while the beneficiaries of Dewas, Batul and Alirajpur are also awarded on the basis of excellent housing construction. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that so far over 7,24,000 houses have been sanctioned in all urban bodies of a state. Out of these, construction work of about 3 lakh houses has been completed and construction of more than 2 lakh houses is in progress. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The dry run for COVID-19 vaccine will take place across the country tomorrow. The centre has asked all states and union territories to ensure effective preparedness for the vaccine rollout. The objective of the dry run for COVID-19 vaccine introduction is to assess operational feasibility in the use of COVID application in field environment, to test the linkages between planning and implementation, and to identify the challenges and guide the way forward prior to actual implementation. This is also expected to give confidence to program managers at various levels. The Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today chaired a high-level meeting to review preparedness at session sites across the country for COVID-19 vaccination trial run tomorrow. During the meeting, the senior officials of the ministry apprised Dr. Harshvardhan on various improvements that have been made to make tomorrow's Pan-India dry run glitch-free, such as increase in number of telephone operators to answer every possible query from the teams on ground conducting the dry run. While reviewing the preparedness at COVID-19 vaccination sites for the trial run in Delhi, Dr. Harshvardhan also spoke with Delhi Health Secretary Amit Sangla, as well as district magistrates and district immunization officers of Shadra, Central and Southwest districts, where the 3 sites of Delhi are located. These 3 sites are Guru Tegh Bahadur Hospital, Shadra, Urban Primary Health Centre, Daryaganj, and Venkateshwar Hospital, Dwarka. The minister directed all the state officials to complete all the necessary arrangements. State officials informed the minister that all necessary arrangements have been made and hospitals are fully prepared. Dr. Harshvardhan said the purpose of the dry run is to identify the problems which can be rectified at the earlier stages. He expressed satisfaction over the arrangements made by the state officials. Head of COVID Task Force and Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said that the dry run of vaccination is important to ascertain the preparedness and operational functioning of COVID under actual circumstances.
पहली बारी इतना बड़ा वैक्सीन प्रोग्राम जो हम व्यस्त व्यक्तियों को देंगे शुरू होगा कोविड-19 के परिप्रेक्ष्य में। इसकी तैयारियां बहुत दिनों से चल रही हैं। जो प्रैक्टिकल गाइडलाइंस जो हैं कि एक वैक्सीन में एक्टिविटी कैसे होगी, बूथ किस तरह से सेटअप किया जाएगा, सेशन कैसे किया जाएगा, सेशन प्लानिंग कैसे होगी, कौन क्या करेगा, क्या डेटा देखा जाएगा। लेकिन ये तैयारी बिट्स एंड पीसेस में है। उसको चलते हुए देखना एज अ सीमलेस सिस्टम एंड अ सीमलेस अंडरटेकिंग, उसको टेस्ट करने के लिए अब ये प्रावधान किया है कि सारे देश में एक मॉक ड्रिल होगी या ड्राई रन होगा, जो हमें ये सब जितने स्टेप्स हैं उनको हम लागू करेंगे और देखेंगे कि कहाँ किस तरह से फर्दर इम्प्रूवमेंट की जरूरत है, जिसके बेस के ऊपर रिफाइनमेंट ऑफ स्ट्रेटेजी किया जाए।
As part of the nationwide dry run of COVID vaccine that begins tomorrow, Kerala State Health Minister K.K. Shailaja announced that the state is fully equipped in all respects for the same. Kerala will conduct the dry run in 4 districts, Thiruvananthapuram, Idukki, Palakkad and Wayanad. The dry run will be held adhering to strict guidelines issued, including prior mandatory registrations. The Health Minister said that all the necessary infrastructure, including vaccine carriers, are ready within the state. Kerala is all set for the COVID vaccination process. In all, 3.13 lakh people have already registered for the vaccine. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 96.08% as more than 23,000 COVID patients recovered during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 98,83,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 2.47% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 2,54,000. During the past 24 hours, 20,036 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 1 crore 2 lakh. The ministry said currently India's case fatality rate is 1.45%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 256 deaths were reported, taking the total to 1,48,994.
The Union government has decided that flights between India and the UK will resume from the 8th of January. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri in a tweet said that operations of flights till 23rd January will be restricted to 15 flights per week each for carriers of the two countries to and from Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru and Hyderabad only. The government had extended the temporary suspension of flights to and from the UK till 7th January 2021. India had earlier banned UK flights on 23rd December till 31st December 2020. More than 800 academics belonging to various universities and institutions have signed a petition lauding the progressive farm laws enacted by the central government. They said that they strongly believe in the government's assurance to the farmers to protect the farmers' livelihoods and it will not take the food from their plate. They said that the government is firmly committed to delivering the principle of minimum government, maximum governance. They said they stand in solidarity with both the government and the farmers and salute their intense efforts.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserts global challenge of COVID-19 gives a scope to innovate and incubate new technology. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to take place tomorrow. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan reviews preparedness in Delhi. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 96.08%. GST revenue collection for December 2020 record all-time high. India begins its 2-year tenure as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The GST revenue collection for the last month has been recorded at an all-time high since the implementation of the Goods and Services Tax in the country. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of December 2020 is 1,15,174 crore rupees. The revenue collected is 12% higher than the GST revenues in the corresponding period in the last financial year. The December 2020 revenues are significantly higher than November's revenues, which was nearly 1,04,963 crore rupees. The Finance Ministry informs that this is the highest growth in monthly revenues since the last 21 months. It said this has been due to the combined effect of the rapid economic recovery post-pandemic and the nationwide drive against GST evaders and fake bills, along with many systemic changes introduced recently. Central Bureau of Investigation Director Rishi Kumar Shukla today said that the CBI has performed well in 2020 and disposed of about 800 cases despite COVID-19. In a virtual address to the officers of CBI across India on the occasion of the New Year, the director said that with the cooperation and efforts of the officers, the agency has been able to finalize investigation of a substantial number of cases. He said we need to work hard in the coming days. Mr. Shukla also emphasized the need for officers and others at various levels in keeping themselves updated with the latest tools of investigation through sustained training. He pointed out that new and well-innovated online training modules are now available as a fallout of the restrictions caused by COVID pandemic.
The Rashtrapati Bhavan Museum Complex, which was closed for public viewing due to COVID-19 since 13th of March last year, will reopen from 5th of January this year. It will be open on all days except on Monday and government holidays. Visitors can book their slots online by visiting website presidentofindia.nic.in. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Pakistan Army troops today initiated unprovoked and indiscriminate firing with small arms and heavy mortar shelling for the second time in a day along the line of control in Naushera sector of Rajouri district after a lull of some days. Public Relations Officer Defence Colonel Zavinder Anand said Pakistan troops repeatedly violated ceasefire along the LOC in Naushera sector of District Rajouri today through unprovoked and indiscriminate firing with small arms and thereafter heavy mortar shelling along the LOC in the afternoon. The Indian Army retaliated befittingly. The Pak troops again violated the ceasefire along the LOC in Naushera sector in the evening. The vigilant Indian Army troops guarding the fence are retaliating befittingly with equal caliber to silence the guns of the Pak Army troops. Meanwhile, Naib Subedar Ravinder, who was critically injured in the incident, later succumbed to his injuries and attained martyrdom.
The Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas and Steel, Dharmendra Pradhan, today launched the Missed Call Facility for LPG consumers in Bhubaneswar. A report from our correspondent.
Launching the Missed Call service, the Union Minister described it as an example of success of Digital India mission and a step towards ease of living for the citizen. He said the Missed Call service for new connection will soon be expanded to the rest of Odisha and subsequently to the entire country. The Petroleum Minister said that while about 13 crore people were given LPG connection between 1955 and 2014, now it is about to reach 30 crore, representing a quantum jump, thereby empowering Indian women. Rolling out the Indian Oils branded XP100 to 7 more cities including Bhubaneswar, Mr. Pradhan said it epitomizes the Prime Minister's vision of Purvodaya. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
India is beginning its 2-year tenure as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council UNSC from today. Talking to AIR News, former diplomat Ashok Sajjanhar said India will play a very crucial role in the UNSC due to the current geopolitical scenario.
India has joined actually from today for the next 2 years, and there is a lot of geopolitical churning that is taking place in the world. So under those circumstances, the role of India becomes very critical and very crucial. Last year when we had the coronavirus pandemic, and it is going on even now, then the multilateral institutions, particularly the United Nations, has failed miserably. The whole world, the whole United Nations should have come together. So what India has been calling for is reformed multilateralism and how, whether it is different plurilateral or multilateral organizations, they need to come together. 2 years, India will make efforts and attempts to bring all the countries together on critical and crucial issues of dealing with the pandemic, climate change, terrorism.
India has conveyed its serious concerns to Pakistan High Commission at repeated instances of atrocities against the members of the minority community. Sources said the External Affairs Ministry also conveyed that it expects Pakistan to investigate the matter and take strict action against those responsible for the vandalization and demolition of a temple there. It was also impressed upon the Pakistan government that this was not the first time that a temple was destroyed in Pakistan, and this has been going on since 1997. Sources said India also asked for the investigation report to be shared with the External Affairs Ministry. New Delhi reiterated that Islamabad should look after the safety, security and well-being of the minority communities in the country, including protection of their religious rights and cultural heritage.
India and Pakistan today exchanged through diplomatic channels the list of civilian prisoners and fishermen in their custody. This is in keeping with the provisions of the 2008 agreement, under which such lists are exchanged every year on 1st of January and 1st July. India handed over lists of 263 Pakistan civilian prisoners and 77 fishermen in India's custody to Pakistan. Similarly, Pakistan has shared lists of 49 civilian prisoners and 270 fishermen in its custody who are Indians or believed to be Indians. New Delhi has called for early release and repatriation of civilian prisoners, missing Indian defence personnel and fishermen, along with their boats from Pakistan's custody. In this context, Pakistan was asked to expedite the release and repatriation of 3 Indian civilian prisoners and 185 Indian fishermen to India, whose nationality has been confirmed and conveyed to Pakistan. In addition, Pakistan has been asked to provide immediate consular access to Indian fishermen and 22 civilian prisoners who are in Pakistan's custody and are believed to be Indian. India today said its embassy in Beijing has repeatedly taken up the cases of MV Jag Anand and MV Anastasia with the Chinese side, requesting that the ships be allowed to dock and the crew be allowed to be changed. In response to a media query on the status of the 2 ships, External Affairs Ministry spokesman Anurag Srivastava said MV Jag Anand is on anchorage near Jinpang port in Hebei province of China with 23 Indian nationals as crew on board. Another vessel, MV Anastasia, which has 16 Indian nationals as its crew, is anchorage near Kolkata port in China.
India and the Asian Development Bank ADB have signed a $10 million Project Readiness Financing PRF to help finance piloting activities and design and capacity building for an ensuing project that aims to expand horticulture production and farm household income in Himachal Pradesh. India and Asian Development Bank also signed a $231 million loan to augment electricity generation capacity in the state of Assam through construction of a 120 megawatt hydroelectric power plant that will enhance availability of electricity for households. Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has extended the deadline for 100% collection of toll charges on the National Highway network through FASTag till February 15. Earlier, the National Highways Authority of India (NHAI) had announced to completely do away with cash transactions for paying toll charges from January 1. Currently, the share of transactions by FASTag is hovering around 75 to 80%. In a communication to the NHAI, the ministry said the Highways Authority can obtain the needed regulatory requirement from it for ensuring 100% cashless free collection from February 15. In order to discourage cash transactions at toll plazas, all lanes barring one on each side have been dedicated as FASTag lanes, and any vehicle entering these lanes without a FASTag is liable to pay double the normal toll fee. At the stock markets, both the key indices, the Sensex and Nifty, posted fresh all-time highs on the first trading day of the new year today, while the rupee weakened slightly against the dollar. A report.
The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange rose 118 points to close the first trading session of the new year at an all-time high of 47,869. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange added 37 points, 0.3%, to end at a record high of 14,019 points. At the foreign exchange market, snapping 6 days of gains, the rupee weakened 6 paise to end at 73 rupees and 12 paise against the US dollar. And gold fell 20 rupees to 49,678 rupees per 10 grams in Delhi. Arjun Chaudhary for AIR News.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has said that each and every citizen must do his bit to protect our environment against climate change. He was speaking after launching the e-Pledge initiative on the website majivasundhara.in as envisaged by the state's Environment Department. He said the Maji Vasundhara initiative must be adopted by citizens as a public movement to save the environment. Maharashtra Minister for Tourism and Environment Aditya Thackeray had launched the Maji Vasundhara initiative on the 2nd of October last year.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between -5 degrees Celsius and 7 degrees. In Jammu, mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 4 degrees Celsius, while maximum will be around 16 degrees. Leh will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be -16 degrees, while the maximum will be around -1. In Gilgit, partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The minimum temperature will hover between -3 degrees to 9 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will move between 1 to 15 degrees Celsius. The national capital will have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The city will observe minimum temperature of 5 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 19 degrees. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 22 and 39 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will vary between 21 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, there will be fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The city will observe minimum temperature of 14 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 26 degrees. Dehradun will observe minimum temperature of 5 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 21 degrees. The city will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi asserts global challenge of COVID-19 gives a scope to innovate and incubate new technology. Nationwide dry run for COVID-19 vaccination to take place tomorrow. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan reviews preparedness in Delhi. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 96.08%. GST revenue collection for December 2020 records all-time high. And India begins its 2-year tenure as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.